Do you want to learn more about tropical accents like this beautiful shell ginger? Well, stick around. We're going to go over a lot of really cool plants for you. So, you ready to dig in? Let's grow. Are you ready to have some fun? We're going to go over a ton of ornamental gingers, not culinary gingers, mind you, not the ones you eat, although some of these are edible, but please don't eat them because you don't know if you're going to have a food allergy to them and you don't know how they were grown in the nursery. So just want to put that little disclaimer out there for you. Ornamental gingers are known by many different common names and the botanical names are sometimes in flux. So I did my best to make sure I got you the most current, but just be aware of that. Okay, now let's talk about some things you need to do before you get your beautiful gingers in the ground. And that is, you want to plan before you plant. You want to research your desired garden vibe. You know, do you want it formal, informal, or do you want a tropical feel? And you also want to know like the aesthetic roles you want the plants to take. Do you want it artistic, whereas you're using the plant to be a feature in the garden space, something to be celebrated? Or do you want it to be structural, where it's actually framing the space and helping define the space? Or do you want it to be utilitarian in its use, where it blocks an undesirable view? There's many choices you can do, or you can use a combination of them. It's all up to you. This is your garden. Have fun with it. The next tip is to make sure that you draw it out. Use your survey if you have one. But if you don't, just measure the space as best as you can and lay out a sketch of your garden. You want to make sure you design your space so it works in your yard. You also want to consider spatial harmony. You want to make sure you consider the scale. Some of these gingers are small in size and some are quite large. And the same will go for the other plants in your garden. So you want to look at contrasting plants if you can, layering, massing, and again, using them as focal points. These are great accent plants to be celebrated in the garden space. Now let me show you some of these beautiful gingers, and we're going to start with my baby sister Bonnie's garden. She's got some beautiful tulip gingers out here. Oh, it's so pretty, Bonnie's garden. Do you like your garden?
I love my garden.
Good. Now let's dig into some truly great gingers that are perfect for our gardens here in Florida and across the South. First up is the stunning Siam Splash Tulip Ginger. She goes by the botanical name Curcuma alismatifolia Siam Splash. She's a cultivar. It's a nice compact ginger, only gets to about 2 feet tall, making her great for containers even, or like Bonnie has here, planting in the front of her garden space. And next to her is the White Wonder Tulip Ginger. Beautiful, very similar to the Siam Splash in the size, but the flowers are this wonderful white with this little bit of lavender and pink edges and in the center. Oh, so pretty. These will flower mostly in spring and summer, and to get them to do their best flowering, you want to place them where they're getting part sun and they have a moist, loamy soil, a soil that had some moisture but it drains well. This is the spectacular torch ginger. These are giant gingers that grow down here in South Florida from zones 10 to 11, and they can get quite tall. Leafy stalks will get up to 12, 15 feet easy. And they have this iconic torch-like flower, so pretty. But one thing you want to know about this ginger is that she likes more of a shady spot. Some others will like some part sun, but this one likes a shadier spot. If she gets too much sun, she's going to burn. This is the orange torch ginger. It's a fantastic mid-sized ginger for zones 8 to 11. Reaches to about 4 to 5 feet overall. And during the summer, she produces these beautiful torch-like flowers of vibrant orange and red with some white tips. So beautiful. Nature simply is amazing. This is the Sweet Memory Pink Torch Ginger, very similar to the orange in that she gets to about the same size, but look at the difference in the flower and the bracts. So pretty. And if you think those torch gingers were pretty, take a look at this one. This is the Beehive ginger, goes by the botanical name Zingiber spectabile. Beautiful ginger. She will get to about 4 to 6 feet tall and grows in hardiness zones 9B to 11. And during the summer, this is where the magic happens. She sends up these bizarre looking golden beehive looking bracts. and as they age, they turn this deep fiery red. And one other thing I want to mention about this plant is that she is a hummingbird magnet. Wonderful exotic ginger, highly recommend. And if you're looking for a fragrant ginger, you simply can't beat the butterfly ginger, also known as the white ginger lily. Grows to about 4 to 6 feet tall, quite hardy. It grows from zone 7B to 11. And in late summer and fall, it produces these clusters of pure white flowers that kind of look like butterflies. And the scent is absolutely intoxicating, especially in the evening. And she's a big-time pollinator attractor, which makes her even more desirable for your garden. This here is the shampoo ginger, and yes, you can use the liquid off of these bracts for shampoo, although I've heard people don't think it does so well, but there's a lot of folks who do swear by it. Here you can see her paired with the variegated cast iron plant. I think these two do real well on the garden space together. Gives a real nice tropical vibe. Very similar to the Beehive ginger in my opinion. She has more of a pine cone tapering and doesn't open up as much as the Beehive. She'll grow to about 4 to 6 feet overall, and she'll put out these beautiful flowering bracts in the summer and fall. For a reliable splash of color, let me introduce you to the red button ginger. This is Costus woodsonii. It's a type of spiral ginger, but it's more compact, only growing to about 3 to 4 feet tall. Grows well in zones 9 to 11, but what's great about it is that she has a long bloom time, and she forms these really cute buttons, which have these little tiny orange flowers that emerge off the bracts. And here's a pro tip for you. The red button ginger will do well in a container. Here's one that I planted with some amaryllis with my nephew Michael a few years ago. And of course, anything goes while we're filming with him.
I'm like, say seashells. If you say it's super fast, and just, you can't say it. She said 379. She should be really good.
That kid is too much. Another great thing about the red button ginger, you all, is that they propagate so easily. Here you can see her propagating from the flowering bract, and you can just break these off or cut them off and plant them, and you get a new plant. Super easy to propagate this ginger. Love her. Another spiral ginger that's bigger than the red button is the red tower ginger, Costus cosmosus variety bakeri. This is a tall perennial, get to about 6 to 8 feet in height, does well in zones 9 to 11, and she gets her name from these huge cone-like flowers that tower on these brilliant red bracts, and they produce these all throughout the warm months in the summer. Bright yellow flowers will emerge, and they're absolute magnets for hummingbirds. And another really cool thing about this plant is that the leaves are so soft. And don't take my word for it. Listen to Bonnie here.
Look how soft the leaf is. Oh my gosh, it's so
Velvety,
pretty.
like your puppy's ears. They are buttery soft. You got to get one. Next, we have the elegant beauty, the Crepe Ginger, also called the Malay ginger. It's root hardy throughout Florida from zones 8 to 11. Grows to about 6 to 8 feet tall. The leaves will spiral initially and then will sometimes go more upright over time. Produces these beautiful, large, 3-inch wide, roughly white flowers with a yellow center. Big blooms. And she's a great nectar source for large-bodied bees like the carpenter bees. And for her to do best in your garden, you want to make sure you give her part shade and have a well-drained, moist, loamy soil. And if you love that ginger, you've got to see the variegated crepe ginger. She's a stunner. Spiraling leaves, again, zones 8 to 11. And what makes her obviously so different is that she has these beautiful variegated leaves with streaks of cream and white. So stunning. Depending on where you pick them up at a nursery here, I believe this was in Horse Country in South Miami. I believe this was at Lighthouse Nursery, if I'm not mistaken. Took this a few years ago. And you can see sometimes they're a little more upright depending on how you're getting them, but they do tend to spiral, which gives a really dynamic form to your garden space. And one of the great classic gingers are the shell gingers. This here is the pink shell ginger, Alpinia zerumbet. Large, evergreen, and clumping perennial. She can get to about 8 to 10 feet tall. And in late spring and early summer, she produces these beautiful clusters of fragrant light pink flowers that look like seashells, right? Great source of nectar for bees and other pollinators. A great ginger for your garden. And of course, the cousin to the pink shell ginger is the variegated shell ginger. Alpinia zerumbet variegata, this plant will absolutely light up a garden. Super common, very easily to pick up this ginger. Evergreen perennial, has the same pink flowers as her cousin. I know her to grow a little bit smaller than the pink shell ginger. She gets to about 6 to 8 feet tall. And at my Miami Shores home, I use the variegated shell ginger as an underplanting to a queen crepe myrtle. And it just formed this nice wide accent. This is a really versatile ginger for you. But she's known for these striking variegated leaves as well. Just so interesting. Over here we have the tropical red ginger, Alpinia purpurata, also known as the ostrich plume ginger. It's a true showstopper, but grows more in the southern parts of Florida, zones 10 to 11. The nectar in the tiny true flowers is an absolute magnet for hummingbirds and butterflies. It's a perfect plant to place by a pool for that permanent vacation vibe. And another stunning variety of the red ginger is the pink ginger. Alpinia purpurata, Eileen McDonald is her botanical name. She's just as vigorous and easy to grow as the red form. Gets to about 6 to 8 feet tall. Also wants to grow in the deep south from zones 10 to 11, but again will give you nearly year-round blooms. And the bracts are this gorgeous, clear, like cotton candy pink, I would say. Just a showstopper. I would like to know, by the way, what's your favorite type of ginger? So leave me a comment down below. It'd be fascinating to know what you all think about gingers in general. And one more pro tip I'd like to leave you with is that you want to make sure that you get great plants for your garden space. You obviously want to make sure that they grow in your climate, but you want to inspect your plants before buying them. You want to ensure that your plant or your ginger is pest-free, weed-free, and damage-free. Look for mechanical damage, and also check for healthy, robust roots. Pull the plant out of the grow container if you can and inspect the roots to see that they're nice and well formed. And the other thing is, this goes back to design, is that you do want to know that your garden space, depending on what type of trees and palms you have in your yard, will have different lighting and soil pH needs, also depending on where you live in the southern states. So you want to make sure that you amend the soil as needed. Especially with gingers, you want to have a moist soil, but a well-draining soil. So that means adding in sand and perlite to your organic mix. That's what's going to help your gingers thrive. And with that, I'd like to just say thank you so much for joining in and talking about this great lineup of gingers. Hope you can add some color and drama and fragrance to your garden while also supporting vital pollinators and wildlife. If you have any questions, you know what to do. Leave it down below. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And tell your friends and family. We post videos weekly. Thanks.